Good afternoon, business analysts all over the world. My name is Mark Bruins. I'm the founder and owner of BA Masterminds, coming to you live on this Wednesday in February 2026. So we're recording this via StreamYard. There is a bit of a delay. I think it takes about 30 seconds to go through. So I've just got my LinkedIn open on the other side just to make sure there's no technical issues, that we can all, that you can all hear me, that you can all see me, and that I am in fact live and I'm not just going to talk. Okay, I'm live, I can hear it there. So wonderful, welcome. So what we're going to discuss today is this is actually going to be a mentoring session. So I've had, I think, 42, 43 LinkedIn live events to date since launching in 2019 BA Masterminds. And a lot of the time we do different things, but on this one, I'm going to do some mentoring. So this is specifically for business analysts who are looking to either get promoted within their own company, maybe from junior BA to BA, or BA to senior BA, or senior to lead BA. Or maybe if you're pivoting horizontally, maybe you're coming from somewhere else, from project management, product ownership, solution architect, one of the subject matter experts, and you're pivoting into a business analyst role that's being advertised in your company. Or for those of you who are preparing to secure a role at another company. So we know what we're going to need for both of those instances. You're going to need an interview. All right. You're not just going to get a job when you apply and they're going to say, well done, you've got the job, here's the contract, just sign it, we've already signed it, and your start date is tomorrow. That's not going to happen. So when there's a job available, they need to interview you. And what do they need to interview you? What do they need? They need to know that you can do the job as per the job description, right? So they're going to send you a job description, and then you need to have a CV and a LinkedIn profile that informs the interviewers that you are capable of doing the work. You've got the theoretical knowledge, the practical experience. So I'm going to go through a few things in a very high level on how you can, dramatically improve your CV and your LinkedIn profile, because the goal when you apply for a job is to secure that interview. And when you secure the interview, the goal is to progress to the next stage or to the final stage. And the goal when you're in the final stage is to get a written offer. Okay, so those are the things that we're looking at. So to improve your chances of securing your goal of getting a written offer, you really do need more interviews, and you need to perform well in your interviews. So how do you get more interviews? Well, you apply for more jobs. It's kind of like a numbers game. If you apply for 10 jobs, you're probably not going to get any interviews. If you apply for 150 jobs, maybe you'll get between 5 and 8 interviews. So firstly, it's finding out, the techniques where to find jobs. And we have 18 techniques for the UK job market, how to find BA roles, either contracts or perm, inside or outside R35. So that's what we're going to get stuck in today. So without further ado, let me share my first slide. So this is our cover slide. It's the missing pieces in most BA job strategies. All right, let's get cracking straight away. Just about the questions and answers, stay till the end. We've got a Q&A right at the end, so we'd like you to join us for the Q&A. I'm looking at the comments right now. If you want to do a comment or anything like that, and put your question in now, it's going to be first come, first serve. So as soon as you have a question, type it in and I will get to you very first. All right, so let's kick it off. So this is what we're going to cover today, okay? So perhaps, you're getting overlooked, or perhaps you're just listing tasks. I did this, and I did this, and I did this, okay? We're also going to see what are these recruiters actually looking for in your CV and your LinkedIn profile, because your LinkedIn profile is expanded view. So I've got a 14-page LinkedIn profile. I've had 25 jobs in my 42 years IT career, but I've got a 2-page CV. So the CV is the summary, and the LinkedIn profile is then the expanded version, okay? And then how do you structure your experience? Because it's all about the experience in your LinkedIn and in your CV, okay? So who is the session for? So if it's not for you, you can drop off, okay? This is for business analysts, okay? I don't mentor project managers or solution architects or plumbers or electricians. This is for business analysts, okay? If you're not getting any interviews, all right? Perhaps if you feel invisible in the market, so you're just like everybody else, your LinkedIn profile and your CV, they just blend in with everybody else, and you're getting overlooked very easily, okay? So it's if you want a clearer strategy. So I offer a breakthrough session of 15 minutes a career strategy session of 30 minutes and a career assessment strategy session as well. And all of those I document the as is. Where are you currently in your life and your career? And I use your CV and your LinkedIn profile and this half-an-hour session to tease these answers out of you so we can determine your as is and your to be, right? And one of them is, are you looking for a new job? And most people come to me when they're looking for a new job. So I go through 9 different action steps or focus points on what do you actually do to secure interviews and to secure the offer once you got the interview. And then that is your current strategy for securing jobs. And at the end of the session, just about everybody that's on the call with me agrees that their strategy is broken. It's not working. And then I ask them, what can you do to your strategy to no, first I say, when are you going to apply for roles again? And then they say, well, I'm going to apply today, straight after this call. All right, so we know your strategy is broken. What are you going to do to change your strategy? And I start documenting points. And it's always, I don't know. We've received your detailed CV review. Thank you, Mark. So I'm going to implement the changes you suggest. Wonderful. That's the first thing. Okay, what else are you going to do? Okay, then, so this is it. You need a clear strategy. So if you want a clear strategy, then you're in the right place. Okay. Or perhaps you're earning way below your worth. Perhaps you've been at the organization for like 4 years. You started on £28,000 per annum, or maybe £32,000 per annum, and now you think you're worth £50,000, and you can't go to your line manager and ask for a 40 or a 50% increase. They're going to laugh at you. All right, so the only way to get this is to go and secure a job at another company. All right, now let's do the comments. Let's see if everybody's listening. Let's see who's joined us today. Let's get a little bit interactive. So if any of these, if you're suffering from any of these focus points above you, just type yes. It doesn't have to be number 1, number 2, number 3, just to get a little bit of interaction here to make sure that I am live and everybody can hear me. Thank you. If anybody can comment, we can hear you, a hi or anything like that, then I know. Okay, but in the meantime, I am just going to move on and I'm just going to wait for these comments. Now, let's see what you're going to gain during this mentoring session, okay? So firstly, it's going to be, what is missing? This is the gap analysis. Where are you missing? Let's get some clarity going on that. Okay. What can you do right away today after the session? What action steps can you take immediately? All right, I'm just a little bit concerned that I'm not getting any comments. So I'm just going to stop here, see if I've got any comments, and I'm just going to launch LinkedIn again and see if anybody is actually, yes, there we go. We've got a comment. Perfect, great, thank you very much. So Dan. Wonderful, Dan, thanks very much. Yes, you have got this. I'm going to try this new thing over here, and I'm going to see if I can do this over here. Show. No, that's far too small. We don't want to get that over there. Okay, do I expand? Let's say I want big. Let's say I want big text, and let's say we want regular, tall, wide. Okay, I'm going to just leave the comments automatically. So thank you. At any time, you can just type in your question or have a comment or something like that. Wonderful. Action steps you can take immediately, right? So you need to show that you've been impactful in all your previous roles. And that's a tough one. So I help you with that. I tease the information. I suggest keywords and things like that, and, and achievements, and we show your impact. Okay. Now, you need a career foundation. So you need to have come from schooling and then perhaps completed a degree or a diploma, and then perhaps completed a master's or a PhD or an MBA. And then after that, perhaps some certifications in project management, product ownership, in Scrum, or in business analysis, more importantly. Okay, that's a solid foundation. And then you convert that theoretical knowledge into practical experience by working for maybe 2 or 3 years as a business analyst. Okay, so that's your career foundation. And then we want the next steps to fast track your career. This is all about goal setting and planning and things like that. So this is what I'm going to cover today. All right. Yeah. So it's not just about hard work. Some people have got 8 years experience as a business analyst, but, they're still invisible. They're not being seen. They're not being headhunted. They're not securing roles. Okay. Where are we now? Okay. I'm just putting some, some air freshening on. Okay, hard work and experience. So your profile needs to reflect that you've added value, because what do we do as business analysts? We improve the bottom line of a company, or we take processes and we refine them and we reduce human intervention and error by optimizing them, things like that. There's a lot of things we do, and so that's the value that we add. Perhaps we do some documentation, some technical documentation that the rest of the team can use. Perhaps we map some process or gather requirements or document some user stories or epics and things like that. So we add a lot of value, but we need to reflect that value that we've added. Okay, that's very important. Yeah. So I call it crickets. It's these little crick, crick, crick in the middle of the night. If you're in the middle of nowhere, you can hear these crickets. So basically, if you just click one-click apply, easy apply on 100 BA jobs on LinkedIn over a period of a week, that's just spray and pray. You're not going to get anywhere. That's not a great technique, right? On its own, combined with other techniques and methods to apply for jobs, but also the first goal that you have when applying for a job is to get a response. That's the first job. So if you apply for 150 jobs and 130 crickets, no response, that's okay, because that's the numbers game. But from those 20, at least you're getting a response. So if you're getting a response, they're interested in your application, you need to take it to the next step. So that's very important, because the next step is then, securing that all-important interview. Yeah. Clarity, that's what we need. We need a lot of clarity, okay? Not about how much you put in your CV, but how well you articulate yourself on your CV as far as your past actions go, so you can secure that all-important interview. So instead of just listing tasks, I did an as is, to be, use case, epic, and all these kind of things, you want to show the result. This is what happened, okay? Preferably in percentage-wise. Preferably you say you improved by so many percent, you reduced by so much percent. I'm going to go into great detail with that in a little while, okay? Now, you want to stand out from the rest of the crowd for the right reason. Some people stand out for the wrong reason. They've got a terrible CV. So everybody's CV, we've reviewed well over 1,000 CVs. We offer a free detailed CV review. We send you a detailed report on everything regarding your CV with action steps that you can implement. Just send it to me in LinkedIn, send it to mark@bamasterminds.com. We'll review your CV and we'll send it back to you with all the, at least it's a good, but you don't want, so all the CVs that are reviewed, they all kind of look the same. Some templates are old from the 1980s or 1990s. Some templates are a bit more modern, maybe from the 2010s or early 2020s, but they all kind of look the same. They end with, in bold, written references available upon request. I'm just going to laugh at it, because you're basically telling them, go away, I've got these, but I'm not going to give them to you. You've got to beg me. So, so you don't want to look like everyone. You want to stand out. Your CV must be a little bit different. And when it's different, it must be different for the right reason, not the wrong. It mustn't be different because of all the spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes and the font and the formatting and all things like that, right? So you want it to stand out for the right reasons. Okay. Most BAs, they just follow on duties. What did you do? I did this, I did this, I did this. I very rarely see a CV that's got achievements. We are separate the roles and responsibilities from the achievements, and you want to get 2 or 3 or 4 achievements from every role that's been a year or longer, okay? So don't just focus on the duties. How did you actually help improve the bottom line? Okay. And you need to have a clear value message. So right at the top in your personal summary, you need to determine and document your unique selling proposition. So we're going to get into that in a little while as well. Okay. So recruiters, they will scan your CV for 5 to 8 seconds. That's it. That's all you got on first glance. Because if you look on LinkedIn and there's a job for a business analyst, at 50K per annum, fully remote, and you need to do the regular things, and you look on the application list on LinkedIn, you see 250 people have applied and only got posted yesterday. So the poor recipient of all these applications, they've got to go through all these CVs. They're very highly skilled. They're very highly trained, specifically for senior BAs or senior BA contractors. They know what to look for. So they can just scan your CV in 5 to 8 seconds. And if they don't find it very interesting, it goes on a no pile. If they scan it in that time and they're on a maybe, then they will spend 22 to 28 seconds. That's what research has shown us, doing a deep dive, basically speed reading your entire 2 or 3 page CV. Look, if it's 4 pages, they're just going to throw it out in any case. But if it's 2 or 3 pages, they're going to speed read everything to pick up these keywords to see if you can do the job, because they know the job description. They probably read the job description and then look at 50 CVs and then just reread the job description to refresh. So they're looking for those keywords, right? And then after 22 to 28 seconds, then again, it could be a no or a maybe. If it's a no, out your CV goes and they go on to the next one. If it's a maybe, they want to go to your LinkedIn profile because they know they're going to see a lot more on your LinkedIn profile than your 2-page CV. So you need right at the top, below your name and surname, below your best job title or highest job title, you need to put your contact information. So that's your city, where you live in the country, your mobile number, your email address, and your LinkedIn URL. Standard on top of a CV in these new templates. They want to click on that LinkedIn URL, go to your profile, make sure there's a profile photo and a background image and an about section and a headline and all these things. So that's what they're going to go through there. Okay, let's have a look at results, because we should be results driven and just talking about your responsibilities. Okay. So what did you do? So instead of saying, I gathered requirements, these are these functional, non-functional requirements that you gather. You can say I defined features that cut delivery time by 28%. Doesn't that sound a lot more like results-based than just responsibilities? Gathering requirements doesn't mean anything. Gathering requirements could mean you just gathered the functional or just the non-functional, and you just gathered 12 requirements. Some people gather functional, non-functional requirements, and there's like 500. So it's a huge difference between gathering 500 functional and non-functional and gathering 12 functional. And the first wording here, gathered requirements, it doesn't pertain to either of them. It could be the one or the other. Okay, but if we know that the results were 28%, we know that the project has been piloted, tested, implemented, BAU, tickets have been done, results have been, training has been done, everyone's using the new to-be future state, and now we've cut the delivery time by 28%. So there's a lot of hidden meaning behind your wording that, that these gatekeepers can extract from you. Okay, gatekeeper is the recruitment agent if you're going through an agency, or the HR department if you're going direct to a company. Okay. So you want to show value because this creates interest, and interest leads to interviews. Okay, so that is the big thing. You're trying to secure an interview. To secure an interview, you must gain interest. Okay, all right. So you need to shift the change how you're being seen. Okay, I hope this is straightforward. Okay, let's discuss the action steps. All right. So now, instead of writing something like that, let's consider writing this instead. So we all know what an as is. We know what a to be is. Now, a lot of people put this on the CV. More times than not, I don't. Let me just have a look here. More times than not, I don't have that 28%. Okay, most people don't. All right, you need to put in achievements. You need to put in numbers, because numbers stand out. They really do end up standing out. Okay. Right, so let's go through this, but thanks for the comment. So let's go through this. So instead of writing developed as is, consider writing this instead. Okay, so I'm sure by now you've all heard of the technique to prepare yourself for a business analyst interview. It's called STAR, situation, task, action, result. Tell us about a time that you dealt with a difficult stakeholder. They ask you that in an interview. The situation was this, I was tasked with that, these are my action steps, and these are the results. Some people also have STAR with a double R. So it's situation, task, action, result, and reflection. Reflecting on what happened, how you can improve, lessons learned, that kind of things. Okay, so now we want to expand on this one line to make a lot more bullet points for your LinkedIn profile. Perhaps they won't all fit in your CV, but definitely on your LinkedIn profile. So let's break them down. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use BA techniques. We are going to showcase that we work well on our own and with team members. So we're going to list the team members: project manager, solution architect, software developer, cloud expert, all these team members that we've worked with, these stakeholders, we're going to list them off as well. If you did this as part of a project, probably going to be part of a project, maybe even a program, list the project, list what it's about. What are we doing in this project? Is it a CRM implementation? Is it an ERP system? Is it are we going digital transformation to SAP from Oracle, or what is going on here? Keywords, 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 business analysis keywords, industry keywords, sector keywords, niche keywords, all these type of keywords. You want to pop them in here so that it pops out, right? You want to write like a technical person does. And more importantly, the results. So we need to mention the results. Okay, so let's break this down. Now I'm going to break it down so that we get, from a high-level task into smaller sub-level tasks. And then these we can document just to get our head around it, because this also helps for the star when they ask you, tell us about a time that you developed a 2B. You can rattle off all of this as well. Okay, so first what you need to do is you need to determine the relevant stakeholders that are using the as-is process. Who are these stakeholders? Okay, and then you need to take instructions from the person who requested these process maps. Right, so when you're a business analyst at a company, you report to your line manager. And on your job description, if you've got 15 roles and responsibilities or tasks that you need to perform in your duty as a business analyst for that company, then you need to find out, the first is we do the 5 W's. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Who am I doing it for? What are my deliverables? And when are the deliverables due? Okay, so this who is an integral part, because if your line manager is a project manager, and then you're doing this for a lead BA as part of a program that's going to hand in all these, artifacts for this project, and you're going to be doing the as-is and the to-be, then you're going to do it for your lead, for the lead business analyst, whichever program is on. So you're not doing it for your line manager. So it doesn't help talking to your line manager about all these things, because we'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth. So we have miscommunication. If you have 10 kids standing next to each other with a Chinese telephone, and the one says to the other one, please go to the shop with a green car and buy a red apple, that whispers to the next one, whispers to the next one. By the time it comes out, my mommy bought me an ice cream at the shop. It's red and I love it. The story gets lost in translation. So what you want to do is you want to circumnavigate that. You want to, be very wary of miscommunication. And how you do that, you go to the horse's mouth. So who wants this as-is process map? Oh, it's the lead BA. Well, go straight to the lead BA. All right. And then you want to, then you're going to take instructions from the who, that person, and you're going to, you need a clear definition of what needs to be done. Okay, so in other words, are you doing this as-is process map in Visio? Are you doing it in Lucidchart? What application do they want you to use? Are you doing it in landscape, or are you doing it in portrait? Are you doing it in A4 or A3? Do they want the VSDX file afterwards, or do they just want the PDF file afterwards? You need a clear definition of what needs to be done. Okay, and then you also need to ask why. Why are we doing this? All right, because if you don't know why you're doing it, what's the point of doing it? Okay, you're doing the as-is because there isn't one, and you need to do the to-be. Then what are the deliverables and when are they due? Okay, then you need to go and you need to peruse related documentation to become familiar with the current business processes. Okay, so you can look at any as-is maps, any business case, project initiation document, business requirement specification document, whatever there is, try and get your hands on it. If it's on SharePoint or on the G Drive or in the cloud, get granted read access and go and peruse and become familiar with the project so that you know a lot about it. Okay. And then, if there's an as-is and a to-be, it's digital transformation, you're going to ask if there is already a future solution. Have they determined, and if they haven't, then how far are they in developing the cost versus benefit analysis? Yeah. So if no future solution exists, then propose to management that you would like to assist. And you develop the cost versus benefit analysis, and you create a draft of the to-be for one of the proposed solutions, and then perform a gap analysis. In that gap analysis, you can say, oh, well, this is missing, that's missing. Maybe we can implement Lean or Six Sigma or robotic process automation. Okay. And then you finalize the to-be, and then you attain sign-off. Okay. But that's if there's no cost versus benefit. Let's say they've already decided on the end product. Now you want to do the as-is. You're going to request a template in Visio, whatever it is. You're going to personalize it for the as-is and submit, for approval. And then you need to determine all the users of this process, everyone in the entire company, the department names, the physical locations and everything like that. And then you need to find a super user. Somebody's been with the company for ages. Somebody's used this as is process. Somebody's got a vested interest in it. Okay. And then you're going to request permission to approach that super user for discussion. You can't just go to anybody in the company and set up a meeting. You need to go to your line manager to speak to their line manager to arrange that you can approach the super user. Okay. And then you send an internal email to the chosen super user introducing yourself and requesting that you job shadow them. Okay. Arrive 10 minutes early, document the action step from start to end, and then do benchmarking. So time it. How long does it take to do this? You go back to your home office or your office and then develop the as-is and Visio. And then consider perhaps asking another business analyst who's been at the company for a long time to peer review your work. And then if it's fine, email it in PDF to the super user and request suggested changes or otherwise sign off. And then once signed off by the super user, then you submit it in PDF format to the requester, the who, in that case, the lead business analyst. And then when the new solution, the 2B, has been implemented and the super user has been trained, then request a follow-up meeting to perform benchmarking again. Stopwatch again, right? Observe as the super user completes all the action steps in the new process while timing it on a stopwatch. And then through your business analysis techniques, and this is where Dan said, sorry, this is where the LinkedIn user said more times than not, I don't use that 28%. Okay, so you need to, determine, use business analysis techniques to determine the improvements for each group of users. Either we decreased processing time by 34%, or we improved customer satisfaction by 75%, or we reduced human error by 100%, or increased revenue by 26%, something like that. All right, wonderful. So that's that. Let's get straight back up. Now, it doesn't help just talking about what you've done and what you've got and your certificates and your degrees, right? That is not really going to sell you. You need to determine what are your unique selling points. What have you got regarding the company, the job on offer, that the interviewers should appoint you for the role, okay? So you've got unique selling points. You're not just another BA, okay? You stand out, you're different, you're the person that they're looking for, you're the ideal candidate. Okay, so sometimes in the requirement section of a job description, it says you need 5 years banking industry knowledge, to apply, or experience. So that's industry. Problems that you've solved, so you can say, well, I've had this one and I've had that one and I've solved this one. Which stakeholders, senior, juniors, part of the business, subject matter experts, customers, vendors, clients, list of those. Okay, which business analysis techniques did you use? So you can say, I used PESCO and MOSCO and fishbone diagram analysis and all these different types of things, okay? Document that as well, okay? Because these define your value, okay? So a lot of you just, your value, but you haven't teased it out of you. So, I specialize in teasing this out of you so that we document it, so we got it once and then you never have to do it again. Especially difficult if there's somebody who's like my age, 61 years old, and I've got to tease out, 30 years of IT knowledge from them. They can't remember their achievements 28 years ago and their roles and responsibilities 24 years ago. So I've got ways of teasing it out of them so we can have clarity and so they can stand out. All right. So we need to get this in your CV because you forget all these projects that you've done. Okay. So as I mentioned, I can tease it out of you. So you might just remember the last role, but they want the full picture. We don't want career gaps. We don't want a gap of a year, 7 years ago, and it's just a hole in your CV and a hole in your LinkedIn profile, because that's what they look during their detailed investigation. When just before they put you forward for consideration for an interview, they want to tick a couple of boxes, and one of them is, are there career gaps? And if there are career gaps, we need to close them. Because what were you doing? Were you lying drunk on your uncle's couch playing Xbox? Were you in prison? I don't know what you were doing. You need to document every single job, even if it's flipping burgers at McDonald's. You need to put it in. Why? There's transferable skills. Like the burger flipper at McDonald's, you deal with customers, you deal with cash, maybe you do some documentation, maybe you facilitate some meetings, you work with vendors and things like that. You work with IT systems, and there's always going to be some transferable skills, but they want the full picture. Okay. So we don't want it unstructured. okay? Because then you're not going to position yourself correctly. You want to have a strong story, a compelling story, okay? So if it's just in your head, you can't reuse it over and over and over. You need to document this so you can use it in your LinkedIn profile, the CV, in the job site portals when you register and populate your profile. So we need these, okay? All right, so what we do in the Bronze Mentoring Program, which is also a part of the Gold Mentoring Program, we have the documentation of past experiences and then the master profile document. So that's step 2. So specifically around the master profile document, it's one document, the only source of truth, all in one place. You need to do this once in your life and never again. So we just copy it out, all right? And from here, once I've approved it, because you do a version, I do a version, you do a version, I do a version, we tease everything out of you, we elicit everything out of you, and then I do a full review, make all the changes. Sometimes it takes me about 4 or 5 hours. I've made up to 800 changes already on people's master profile documents because I've done hundreds of them. So I know quickly how to be able to, well, 4 hours quickly, I know how to be able to, you know, perfect it, okay? So you need to make sure that your LinkedIn profile and your CV and the job site portals, that the name of the company that you worked for and your job title and the start date and the end date correlate between the platforms, because if they don't, perhaps you come across as a liar, and we don't want to employ a liar, okay? So if you use the one source of truth, the master profile document, you just update the master profile document every time you gain a different education, maybe an MBA or a PhD or a master's. If you get more certificates, you update the master profile document. You get a new job, you volunteer somewhere, you've completed a new project, you first populate the master profile document, okay? And everything is in there, everything, right? Even all the results and things like that, okay? So as I mentioned, it's the one source of truth. And okay, so let's move on to LinkedIn. So there's a big difference between your CV and your LinkedIn profile. So a CV is, you know, not that you can't really personalize it. It's going to be black and white. Don't use blue or red or anything like that. It's got to be ATS compliant, applicant tracking system compliant. And basically, it's going to be a landing page, right? So you want to have graphics and vision and color and emoticons and bolding and underlining and justifying and bullet points and all this. You've got a lot more that you can do in LinkedIn to stand out, because there's 2 ways to populate your LinkedIn profile, the perfect way and the less than perfect way. So it's our ambition to get you to populate it the perfect way. What does that mean? Add all the sections, populate them to the character limit, add industry keywords, sector keywords, business analysis keywords, speciality or niche keywords, any of those, put the keywords in so that you're headhunted consistently through your LinkedIn profile. Okay. A very important part is above the fold. So if you go to somebody's LinkedIn profile on a computer, not on a phone, a mobile phone, a computer or a tablet, laptop or desktop, and then you go onto their LinkedIn profile, then that is called above the fold. If you scroll with the scroll button, you go up like that, then that's below the fold. So above the fold is what stops recruiters, headhunters, colleagues and everything in their tracks when they're looking for somebody like you, or when you send a connection request, should I accept this person into my network? They see above the fold, right? And in there, it's your headline, and then you scroll down and it's your about section. So it's your LinkedIn background image, your professional profile photo, and your headline, and then scroll down below the fold about. And you need to catch the retention in these sections, okay? And you can't just use keywords. That's not going to be enough, okay? So you want to create a positive, professional first impression with your photo to make it seem like you're approachable. Okay, you don't want to scare people off. Okay. So this will open opportunities that you did not exist. Okay, let's go through and let me show you one of my Gold BA Masterminds. So his name is 𝐸𝐸. He did it a while ago. And let's share his profile on the screen. Let's go and push F11. I'm not in the way here with my photo, no. Okay, so you can see a nice, good, solid background image promoting himself, you know, containing some unique selling points. He's got a degree. He's a senior business analyst, so he's got a lot of experience. He's BCS certified. You know, his niche or speciality is Oracle. Okay, and all these different types of things to sell him correctly. Now, this is the headline. You've got 220 characters to do that. He's used Unicode, yay text as well to stand out, to make it nice and bold. All the contact information must be filled in, your phone number and your email address, so that people can get hold of you. And this is above the fold, this line. If we go below the fold, here is the about section. So it's very important that you do well in your about section. This is 𝐸𝐸's unique selling proposition. Here are some of the projects and work streams that he's worked on. Here are some of the achievements that are summarized and some keywords, what technologies has he used and things like that. And then he goes and does his, puts his CV here as well, and his experiences all out here from the education here as well. It's best to list your subjects and your activities that you did and everything like that. Like I said, 2 ways to populate the profile, the perfect way and the less than perfect way. And you can see that he has attained his gold BA Mastermind certificate of completion on September 2022. So we're very proud of 𝐸𝐸 that's completed the course. But that's sort of like an example of how you too can make your LinkedIn profile look. Okay. All right, let's go back to the slides. Let's have a look here. So we're going back here. Okay, fine. That is 𝐸𝐸's LinkedIn profile shared. So let's go into cover letters. They're still important. They still exist. And you can't have a generic one, and do not let ChatGPT make it. You've got to go and, take the time and make it yourself. Okay, less is more. Okay, you don't want to just populate it with a lot of keywords. Impact. We want a lot of impact. How do you do impact? Action words, keywords, facilitated, developed, mentored, all these kind of things you want to put in there. Very powerful, beginning with bullet points. You want to use bullet points and not just rambling stories. People don't read much anymore. They're not going to read your rambling story. They want to, look at the bullet points. Okay. Relevant achievement. So you need to separate the roles and responsibilities from your achievements. Must be quick to read and easy to remember. You want to stay top of mind. Okay. A cover letter, this is not just a duplication of what's in your CV. I worked at this company and I did this and this and this. We know that. It's in your CV. It's condescending to speak to a recruiter or an interviewer like that. So do not do that. Stay away from that. Okay. Clearly list your experience for the role. So in other words, you can tailor your CVs according to the job description. That'll always put you in good stead to stand a better chance of securing that interview. Okay. Show your value, and then small effort, big difference. Okay, so we want to make a clear, concise CV, and that's what's going to separate you from whether you get the job interview or whether you do not get the job interview. At this time, can people start asking questions? If you've got any questions, I'm going to be taking questions when we wrap up here in a few minutes. Okay, now you can either redo your CV, redo your LinkedIn profile, redo your unique selling proposition, or you can get somebody to help you with it, and I can help you with it. We've got a program that can help you, and it's a very structured approach. We've got all the templates in it. If you're doing something by yourself, it's called reinventing the wheel. You're going to fall, and maybe you fall backwards and not forwards. You're not going to learn, or you're going to give up, or there's no accountability partner, right? Because you need to finish what you start. So if you want to start and do a great CV and a great LinkedIn profile promoting you correctly on all social media platforms, why did you consider appointing me as your mentor and career strategist to assist you in this? Okay. Now the process is these action steps from the Bronze Mentoring Program, which we're going to get into just now. All right, let's have a look here. Okay, now, what have we learned today so far? So there's some missing pieces, okay? And we need to structure your experience, but more importantly, we need to show impact. And we've got templates to make these things faster, okay? And then let's now get into the Bronze Mentoring Program. And what does this all cover? Right, so it covers, firstly, which is not on the list yet, thanks, Petro, it's goal setting. So we start by determining your long-term, medium-term, and short-term goals. And then from your medium-term goals, which is 1 year from now, this is where we want to get you. We want to get you to achieve your 1 year goals. So what you're going to do is you're first going to do your unique selling points after your goal setting so that you can determine your strengths and what value you bring. Okay. And then together with your future, your to be, your 1 year from now job title and job description and the 6 focus points we complete, we are going to rewrite your CV in alignment with your one-year goals. We're going to redefine you on social media in alignment with your one-year goals. Okay, so that's very important. And then we're going to do your master profile document. We're going to populate your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to review it and make changes. And then we are going to do your CV, which I will review as well. Okay, it's self-paced, it's online. You can do it after hours. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. We've had over 1,000 people enroll in our Bronze Mastermind. We've got 130 in our goal. We just had the 130th person sign up this week. So business is going good. I'm mentoring as many business analysts as I can fit in. We started about 6 years ago, and now we're scaling big time now that we've got these platforms, these online membership portals that are secure. All right, so invest in yourself so you can get a higher paid job, and then you can earn more money. All right, let's show the Bronze web page. All right, let's have a look what the Bronze web page looks like, the landing page. So it's www.bamasterminds.co.uk/bronze. You can also get there via our homepage. Okay, you've seen enough of me. Bye. I'm going to disappear for a little while, and while I take you through our Bronze homepage. So I'm doing F11. I've zoomed in a little bit so you can all have a good view. And let's take a look at what is in the Bronze. So here is the free CV review. So if you want that free CV review I talked about, just click here and upload your CV. And within 48 hours, 2 working days, we will come back to you. Yeah. Some of the reasons why you could invest in the Bronze mentoring program, you want a new CV because you're not getting the recruiter's attention. You're applying for jobs, but you're getting crickets. There's no response when you apply. Okay. Maybe you're applying for, and I've heard this a lot. I ask people during their strategy with those 9 questions, what jobs are you applying for? Business analyst, permanent, business analyst, contractor, project manager, product owner, and solution architect, and user acceptance tester. I'm applying for all of those jobs. How many CVs do you have? 7. I've got a CV for each one of them. Okay, that's wrong. That's not in alignment with your one-year goals. If you want to be a certified senior business analyst contractor earning 1,400 per day, then that's what you want to do in a year from now. You can't apply for other jobs. You can't be a project manager now and in a year's time want to be a senior BA. So that's all about aligning your strategy, okay? And then you're not marketing yourself correctly with your unique selling points and your images and professionalism and things like that. Okay, it's not making impact. Okay, so yeah, you can join Bronze. It's a payment link. You go to the cart and you fill it in. All right, so this is what you get, your unique selling points, your DPE and your MPD, and then we're going to optimize your profile, your background. You get a completely new professional profile photo, just like Taku's one, the background, just like Taku's one. And then we do your short CV and cover letters, and then a bit of progress reflection. Yeah, you can see some of our past business analysts and what they do and what they want to say. You can fast forward. Yeah, you can rewind. Yeah, there's Tando. He was live today in BA Life. I saw on LinkedIn. Very well done, Tando. He was my 2022 student as well. Tando, he did really well. Okay, so this is the building of the foundations. A bit of why choose the right mentor. This is all about the Bronze. So this is what it's going to take and everything about it. You can invest there, a bit about me. And then this is what you'll have when you finish. So your deliverables. Here is a video of Nana. He finished the Bronze. You can see he secured a job. He did really well with Bronze. He got his target. So go and watch. This is not very long. It's 19 minutes. It'll pump you up as well. A full 14-day money-back guarantee on all our products and services, some frequently asked questions, and then you can go back to the top again. All right. So that's a little bit about our Bronze mentoring program. Let me show you what it looks like inside the portal. So I'm going to disappear again. So I'm going to do, let me just have a look here so I can get this right. F11, share screen. There we go. Now we're actually inside the portal. This is what it looks like once you invest and once you log in. All right, so these are the ones. The first, the introduction, tell you what it's about. Then we do the unique selling points, the documentation of past experiences. So how it works is part of this one. Let's do the master profile document. Okay, so I'm going to play a video. So video, and it's 50 minutes long. So it's 50. We try and keep them short, but this is a long one. And then here's all the artifacts. You can download all of these, download the assignment, upload the assignment, mark it as complete, and then go on to the next one. Pardon? Okay, so that's basically what that covers. Let's go back to the slideshow and see how far we are now with the slides. All right. So that was the secure membership portal. So it's £297. There are no payment methods. You can pay with a debit card, credit card, PayPal account. You can pay in gold, you can pay in silver, you can pay in Bitcoin, you can give me a painting or a sculpture. No, I'm joking. Debit card, credit card, PayPal, and backs payment into our UK limited bank account, Business Analyst Masterminds Limited in the UK. So the link does conversion. So on the bronze page, you can, if you're in a different country, if you're in USA or Canada or Australia or South Africa, wherever you are, and you click there, it will actually convert it into your currency so you can see how much it is. But it's an absolute steal. Our prices haven't gone up for 3 years. So that's been a while. Okay, so there is the link. If you just want to click the link, and then you can bookmark the page, and you don't have to type that all in. Just in the comment section, just click in the comment section. All right, wonderful. Where do we go from here? Let's have a look at the next slide. All right, it is time for questions and answers. So I'm not expecting too many questions because people haven't really been typing in the questions yet. So if you've got a question, type it in now. So a lot of people watch this live, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you very much. I hope you've received quite a bit of value in your 45 minutes. I do value your time. But some people watch the recording, and then I edit the recording and put it on our YouTube channel as well. If you're watching the recording on LinkedIn and you've got a question, please just type it into the comment section. Okay. We appreciate all your different comments, and we will answer. If you've got any questions, just put in the comments. We will answer you. We keep having a look at the questions. So that's really good. And no questions. So I thank you for your time. We're going to be live again in 2 weeks. I think it's the 29th. It's part of our series with the Gold Mentoring Program. I look forward to seeing you then. You all have a great day further. Thank you and goodbye.